don't think it's that difficult if you really, really want to do it. I mean, it's not easy, but it's not impossible. Everybody will give you a different version. My version is, in terms of film, I had just done that, my first job, the musical. I was out of work. My agent said, "Do you want to try for this television course?" I thought, no. And then he said, "Well, what are you doing? You've got, you'll never get in. There's too many people applying." And I specifically thought television would be a good thing to do when you're old. Theatre, you need energy. Television, when you're an old guy, you trundle a few cameras around, it'll be easy. Absolutely certain way of getting a job. One way is to really, really want it, but actually the other way is not to want it at all. And I actually went for this audition not caring what I said. So I wasn't nervous. It's the only audition I've ever done where I wasn't nervous, because I didn't care whether I got it or not, which of course is very freeing in a funny kind of way. And obviously I got it. But then I did this ridiculous course, 6 weeks, doing what you're doing, listening to other directors talk. When you listen to other directors talk, they fall into two categories. Either you think, how come this moron is doing a job I want to do so much, and that he's been allowed or she's been allowed to do it, and I'm not. So that's pretty dull. Or you think, okay, I see what he or she does. I can understand it, I can respect it, I even admire it, but there's no way I'd be able to do it like that. I'm just not that sort of person. I can't talk fast, or I'm not this. You don't see what you want to be, you just see another version, which is, if it's a good director, it's interesting, but neither is very helpful, so this talk will not be very helpful. Anyway, I did this, at the end of my course, I made a tiny film, which I hadn't done a film before, theatre. I've done sort of videos when I was 10 and that kind of stuff, and the film was so awful, that I didn't even finish cutting it. But within 2 hours of starting shooting it, I had a proper crew. I thought, oh my God, I see what this is. This is so what I want to do forever. Work in films, I don't want to be in television. And then by a very, very weird chance, I got an enormous job. And I made a very, very, very long film, 14-hour film, out of nowhere, with every famous actor in England in it, completely not by fluke exactly, but by completely unpredictable. There was a strike and the other director fell out, and they had no one else.
What was that?
It's called Brideshead Revisited. Often I work on scripts that I've written, so in some instances you take something, particularly when it's about a true story or about a real event or even an adaptation of a book, about which you've spent a great deal of time thinking. So part of your job is to impart what you understand and what you've learned. In some instances, you're ahead of the game because you've often been doing it for a year or 2 years before the actor comes in. At the same time, the wonderful thing about film and theatre, although it happens in a more naked way in a sense in film, in theatre you get practice basically. In film you're tending every day to finally do something. Every day you've got a camera there, that's the only way that scene's ever going to be, and so that you're always working right at the kind of the cutting edge of performance, if you like. You're not going to do it twice, and at that point it's a very collusive process basically, whereby in a sense there is no single authority, and the actor particularly can often ask all sorts of people, but the actor-director is perhaps the key one, come up with really surprising elements that you haven't predicted and so on, and you need to be very open to that. Film is about ideas, but it's also about being open to the most interesting idea available, which may not be yours. Always standing in a field that you thought was going to be sunny and it's pouring with rain, or that you thought was going to be empty and it's full of tractors, what is crucial is how you turn the reality of what you're faced with. Your leading actor's got a cold, someone's just hurt their ankle and can't run. All those things happen all the time in film, and how you make your idea not only withstand that, but get better under that circumstances is the key to directing. It's not theoretical, it's how you make the real situation turn into the situation that you want.
How do you film it so you don't see the other camera that's filming the exact same scene?
You're teetering on the only rule there is in directing. There are no rules at all in directing. There's nothing you can't do. And if you absolutely struggle, this is the only law. And you haven't exactly asked the point. First of all, you don't necessarily have two cameras working at the same time. If you do, which you do nowadays quite a lot, you compromise the angle. Conventionally, the logic would be that when you want to do that shot over a shoulder, one is the reason you have the shoulder there so you know where you are. I don't know if you remember there was a shot in the Water film where the boy is brushing his teeth. And then there was a shot of a tap. Now you knew in your brain that you should have seen a bit of his shirt in the right hand side of that frame. It's not only because of the continuity, which is doing the same thing twice, but it's also because you would have known where you were if you could feel where his body was. And so it's a geographical thing, but if you have one camera, you'll tend to bring the camera as close into the eye line of the person you're photographing, which means basically right over the shoulder. But if you've got two cameras, you have to pull them back away a bit. The one rule, just for what it's worth, and it's the only rule there is that when you're doing those close-ups, if it's us talking, this is how it's explained. If you imagine a line between our two eyeballs, both close-ups have to be taken on the same side of that line. A lot of directing is about persuading people to do things, frankly. Persuading people to do... I mean, in a way, that's what is so powerful about this end of directing, i.e. directing and acting when, now while you're at college, or where you only have persuasion, you're not paying anybody. Nobody has anything to gain other than participating, and that you learn, if you like, possibly the core skill as the only role, which is getting people to join together to do something and getting them to see the benefit of what they're doing and making that benefit actual. And really, that goes through all the way through. You start by persuading someone to let you do it, then you're constantly persuading someone to give you enough money to do it, because although money isn't the only important thing, and you can jump beyond that to make anything, as you know, it goes to the cinema or whatever, in the end it is money, so you're persuading someone to give you money. Then you're persuading people to be in it, and then you're persuading them to do what you want. So all you do is persuade, basically. So I think being a good persuader, that's it. That's directing. That's done. You can all direct now. There's nothing else to know.